Hello guys, welcome back to MeHeRe. I hope you're doing well. Maybe a little bit better than I do at the moment. So welcome back to MeHeRe, the space for mental health recovery. And I need mental health recovery for myself right now because things haven't been easy. I must say, like, since the last video that I uploaded, my mental health got constantly worse and worse and worse. And I just experienced a huge mental breakdown on Wednesday. It had to do with a lot of workload as well, but things happened before that I just ignored because I felt like I don't have time for this. And I felt like, okay, it's not that bad, it's just everybody is experiencing this right now, so don't be such a pussy. And I kept going and I kept pushing, and I think a lot of us even actually do and choose this kind of path right now to just keep pushing because we tell ourselves, yeah, one day there will be the reward. The reward is coming one day. You just need to keep pushing. But what most of us do is just we ignore whatever is going on within us. We just follow the path which is already kind of out there, and we continue being just part of a certain system. And we also, in some of the moments where our self is talking to us, we just ignore it. And even if our body is screaming for a break, we go over it and we continue and we keep pushing. And this is what I experienced within the last, let's say, especially 10 days. I kept pushing. I kept pushing. I kept pushing. I've been doing university stuff. It sounds so silly even to say this, I've been doing university things from morning till evening with barely taking breaks. I just kept pushing. I told myself that this is not the time to just, look after yourself. I did not even consider to look after myself. I did not knew how to look after myself, basically. To be honest, I still don't know. And it's so interesting because I created this space regards to mental health recovery, because what happened within the last 6 months is actually that I built up a pretty healthy relationship with myself and also regards to my mental health, and it has been strong. And that also was the intention that made me decide to even open up this space. I felt strong enough to be kind of like share my experience with you in the hope that I could help some of you. And now I'm sitting here and kind of needing help myself. And also, first of all, acknowledging this took me quite some time. Second of all, finding and figuring out what actually led me to having this mental breakdown on Wednesday was another part. Then starting to talk about it and also opening up to people was something I have never really done before. And also I must say that I've never experienced such a positive response as I have now. I've never experienced this kind of sense of community and the feeling of not being alone with this issue. I've never experienced this before, and I must say that this is a huge benefit and a huge strength that empowered me even now to just sit down and talk things out. And it's just that we keep pushing way too much. We do not listen to our own body. We do not even allow us to connect to our own, to us. We do not allow us. And even if we do so, we always tell ourselves, yeah, there will be time one day to actually, start listening to this inner voice. But we just continue just to exist. Just shows that something is going so wrong. And the interesting part is, for me now, to acknowledge just that I felt like I have found myself. I had an identity, I was happy with it, and I felt quite well identified and also very purposeful. And I felt like I have fully explored my personality. And then things started to happen, and I kind of just got so lost in this pushing and go, go, go again that I just lost the connection to myself because I stopped listening to myself and I was more using my cognitive, egoistic mind to tackle the challenges and less my inner intuition and my sense of self. And not being able, to live out my life the way that I felt very purposeful just made things increasingly becoming harder and harder and harder, and also harder to mentally cope with it, because a part of me that I identified myself with and was very happy with is just from one moment to another since this whole situation took place kind of gone or demolished along the way, because even reaching out to people via WhatsApp and Zoom, yes, it is an alternative, but it does not give me the satisfaction as it did in the past while I was chatting with people and just talking with them and having conversations and connecting with people on another level than I think a lot of people even do. And certain factors within life just always bring out the sensibility in me that in the past I was kind of conditioned to just not show this sensibility and just not let that sensibility necessarily happen to me, and just, slow down certain emotions, just to fit in, and just to follow the expectations and follow the norms and follow the values. I filmed this video about awareness and about your ego, and what I just noticed is that my awareness within the past week was when I just realized now that my ego and my defending mechanism just started to gain strength, and it started to increase a voice within myself, which is like experiencing pain and hurt, and this is my ego. And my awareness, even when I talked about it in the video, there it was relatively strong, because I've been strengthening it through like practicing meditation and just living a very mindful life. But since I came into this kind of lockdown situation here, I basically stopped doing so, and now I can just see what it leads to. So what I'm just telling you here now is just my life experiment. And I am the experiment myself, and I never thought that this would actually be it. And it's so like, guys, what I'm doing here right now is literally connecting to my sense of self and connecting and regaining my awareness. And this is what's happening if you do so. You start seeing things that you haven't been able to see before, because with your awareness and the raise of your awareness, you can actually start connecting to things which happen unconsciously. And some of those things, because we store them away on purpose, because they are not very accepted by certain set of norms, society rules, and we have been conditioned to think bad about them. And that is why we are so afraid of certain unconscious patterns that we might have within ourselves. So what we do over time is just we try to layer them up. We layer ourselves with complexity. We layer our life with a certain set of complexity, and always increasingly in complexity, due to the ability of our mind to make things worse than they actually are. Due to certain norms, our conditioned mind, we start to layer above the things that we truly actually are. We store certain emotions. If we do not learn how to go through them in a healthy manner, we start to just, store them within us. And as more emotions which are not desired by society to be shown, the more we actually store. So of course our body feels heavier and we feel more exhausted, and our mental health just gets weaker and weaker, because it's kind of like if we just don't let our body heal. We hurt ourselves by just swallowing certain emotions down, because emotions are just a natural response from our body to certain experiences that we have in life. And yes, of course, you can strengthen your mind. These are like two things you can do. You can either strengthen your mind to not experience such a high load of emotions and to be more in control of the amount of emotions and the strength of the emotions that you feel. That is one way. So you can just, the way how you tackle certain situations and how you analyze them by having a strong mind can lead to a better and less strong emotional response to certain things that are just happening around you, but just letting them be. Another thing is that you can do is that whenever you have those emotions, and they might raise up and you might feel them within you, and we are all humans, guys. We all have emotions and we all experience emotions, but we feel like we are not allowed to actually feel those emotions, like all the happy emotions, everything that is like kind of, it's been told and conditioned to us that happy emotions are doing something good to society, they're doing something good to the system. So whenever it is a happy emotion, we are kind of allowed to show them in the Western world, where I would also say that some certain happy moments are even not, they don't feel to be allowed to show, because you are scared that you might hurt with such a pure happiness anybody else, and you might then just increase the diversity between your emotional response to a certain experience you have in comparison to somebody else. So you even keep sometimes happy emotions to yourself. But I would say in general, we rather tend to just keep our negative emotions to ourselves, and we don't live through them. We have been conditioned to just, bottle up, to swallow them down, bottle it up, and it's a slow process. Sometimes we just have all those anger within us, and we don't know where it actually comes from. Also, in some people, it might be recognized as anger. In other people, it might be recognized as sadness, and storing it the whole time. So the more you store, the heavier you get, the weaker your emotional state and your mind gets. It is kind of like a disease, and we bottle up and we bottle more in, it's like getting more of the virus. We are constantly feeding our own mind and our own emotional baggage, and we store it within us in the hope that it will just stay there and not being recognized and not being punished for actually having those emotions by society. The only thing that is punishing you and able to punish you is another human being. You know that we are fighting a very big conflict. These are the things that I'm just recognizing when I'm doing these kind of connections to myself. And this is just awesome. And I've been missing this. I've been missing this lately a lot. And I'm really happy that I've just allowed myself to actually have those conversations, and even being able to record them, and also deciding on the best and most valuable things that I think I should document and should, keep somewhere documented. And I don't know, I might watch this back in a couple of years' time and just thinking yes, that was a moment, where you were really wise because you listened to your inner sense of self, and it made you feel better. It lifted this kind of weight that you were putting on yourself, and it made you connect more to the true sense and not the sense of self that is expected from you the whole time through.